Bearcats All Access, sponsored by Ultrafiber.
Welcome to a special edition of Bearcats All Access from Kansas City. I'm your host, Marshall Kramsky. The Cincinnati Bearcats right here at Arrowhead Stadium earlier this week, taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers in their first game of the season. We break down the game. Plus, we hear from quarterback Brendan Sorsby on what it's going to take for him year 2 as QB1 for the Bearcats. That, plus some great player features and what's tasty inside of Nippert Stadium this season. But it all starts with Coach's Corner and head coach Scott Satterfield. Coming up right now. Coach, I know it's only week 1, but that's as tough as you could lose a game down the end. What do you say to the guys in the locker room after that?
Well, I told them I was proud of them because they fought their tails off tonight. It's a tough environment out there. You know, it was our home game, but obviously more Nebraska fans, and affected us offensively. Several false start penalties, and I thought that hurt. The difference in the game, though, was turnovers. You know, we had the 2 turnovers, and they were very costly in this game. I thought defensively we played outstanding football. First half, offensively, we couldn't get anything going. Second half, they played a lot better. But it really came down to the turnover battle, and we lost that.
Is there anything you could build off from this game?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in this environment, going toe-to-toe with a team that, people think is a top 25 team, and shoot, I'm proud as I can be with our guys. Obviously, we got to win football games. We know that. I think we got a really good football team. We got something special in that locker room. These guys are hungry. They'll come back to work next week, and we can't wait to get back on the field.
Cincinnati Bearcats head coach Scott Satterfield back for year 3 with UC. He sits down with us every week on Bearcats All Access, but this week he had his team ready to go against Nebraska in Kansas City for the Bearcats' first game of the season. Sports anchor Caleb Noe sat down with Satterfield to talk big picture for UC and Coach Satterfield in year 3 at the helm as they try to make their first bowl game under Coach Satterfield.
Coach, 2025 season, what excites you the most about this year's edition of the Bearcats?
Well, I think there's a lot. I think when you talk about the guys we brought back from the team last year that were outstanding players for us and really good leaders, we're glad to bring those guys back. Dante Corleone, Joe Royer, Brendan Sorsby, Gavin Gerhardt, a lot of these guys that were kind of heart and soul of the team last year. But then also we brought in some great additions to our team. I think particularly the wide receiver room. We got 6 new wideouts out there. I think that have all contributed this offseason and will be really good players for us. I'm excited about seeing them make some plays out there. We're excited about this team. We're ready to go.
Dante Corleone is a guy who's been receiving national recognition for years at this point. To get a guy like that back in your facility, back at Nippert Stadium this year, in what way is that most impactful for the team?
I think there's a lot of ways that's impactful. Number one, he's from Cincinnati. Here's a homegrown player that stayed at home and, has been here. And for him to still stick around and to be a captain, I mean, he's going to be a 3-time captain for us, as Gavin Gerhardt is as well. And I think it just, speaks to the character of Dante. And a guy who dealt with a lot last year, with the medical things that he had going on and didn't know if he was going to play, and to be able to battle back from that and to be able to play last year. I think he wanted to just come back and prove a lot to everybody that he is the kind of force that we all know he can be.
1 year ago, I know certainly, one of the big goals was to make a bowl game. Stumbled down the stretch. What did you learn about this team, about yourself, and about this program during that tough time period down the stretch?
Yeah, it was difficult at the end of the season. We started out really good. One of the top teams as you head in the first season. I mean, really could have been 7-0 easily. We're sitting there 5-2 and just coming off a win against Arizona State. And from that point, we're both 5-2. They won the rest. We did not. And I think for us, we learned a lot about how we got to continue to compete each and every week. You got to be able to win these games in the fourth quarter. It's one of the things we talked about all offseason is how we're going to finish. How you're going to finish the game. The fourth quarter is where we're going to win these games. We have not done well at that the last couple of years, but as we move forward, being a more disciplined football team, executing the plays each and every down, especially late in the game. I think our guys have built to this point to go out and win these games in the fourth quarter. Our guys can't wait to get to the fourth quarter now, knowing that's how we're going to finish. And you still got to make plays. The guys going to have to make plays.
What does a successful 2025 season look like for the Cincinnati Bearcats?
Be competitive in every single game. To go to postseason, to play for that. And the number one goal for our team, it's always been this whole offseason, is to get to Dallas. And that's to go play for a Big 12 championship. We know how this league is. It's very competitive from top to bottom. Last year, every team lost at least two games in this league. So, if you do stump your toe, you're not out of it. And for us, we just want to be consistent and competitive every single week. and fight our way to Dallas by the end of the season.
Coach, good luck this season.
All right, thank you.
This week's Bearcats All Access, we shine a light on a feature story about Janelle Green, the redshirt freshman volleyball player. Janelle comes from a really athletic family. Her father, Trent Green, you might recognize the name. He was a quarterback in the NFL for 15 seasons, 6 of those right here in Kansas City playing for the Chiefs. Janelle's brothers both played quarterback in college, and we sat down with Janelle to hear more about the influence of her family and another special connection of the Bearcats and Arrowhead Stadium.
I'm Janelle Green. I'm a setter from Leawood, Kansas. I'm in my 2nd year. I'm a redshirt freshman. Growing up, I had a dad that played in the NFL for 15 years. It's always really funny because as soon as people figure out that Trent Green's my dad, they look at me and they're like, oh yeah, you look like him. So in my family, I have my mom and my dad, and then I have 2 older brothers. TJ is my oldest brother. He is 8 years older than me. Derek is the middle child. He's 6 years older than me. Both of them were quarterbacks in college. They went to go play collegiately. TJ played football at Northwestern. Derek played football at SMU down in Dallas. Derek then took his 5th year at LIU in New York, and from there he went overseas to play professional football in Italy, France, and Sweden. A lot of the cousins on my mom's side all went and played Division I sports. One of my cousins is currently in the NFL, Ben Skoranek. He played at Northwestern with my brother. He played at Notre Dame for a year. Played with the Rams, won a Super Bowl with the Rams his rookie year, and then is now with the Steelers. I'm so proud of my family. I'm gonna put that there too. Like, it's not just my inner family, but my extended family, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, they all call, text, watch the games, come to the games when they can, and the support system that my family has is just immaculate. My parents do a great job of making it out to Cincinnati. It's a priority for them to be at, whether it's my games now or was my brother's games a few years ago, making it to have at least one of either my mom or my dad in the stands watching us and cheering us on. It's a priority to my dad to be at all of the sports games of his children, from when we started playing like t-ball and pee-wee soccer to now at the collegiate level. He makes an effort and is almost always there at every single game. And my mom's my bestie, and I'm the youngest one, so my mom's my bestie and comes out to Cincinnati whenever she can. She comes hangs out with me. So it's always been really cool having my dad as my dad. I think it's really funny when people figure out who my dad is, because I get a lot of, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I don't know. Like, how am I supposed to introduce myself? Like, hi, I'm Janelle, like Trent Green's my dad. But there's so many great things I could say about my dad. He's definitely shown me how to lead, whether he realizes it or not. He's shown me how to love tough, correct people when they need to be corrected, direct people in the right way. He's also just done a great job of reminding me to do what makes me happy and to put yourself first. You can't put other people first if you don't take care of yourself as well. He's shown me what hard work is. Growing up, watching my dad do the things that he did is very inspirational, because he not only did it as a great athlete, but he was a better person. He did a lot of time working in different foundations and working in the community. He really showed me what it means to give back and what it means to pour into people who've poured into you. He was a great example of hard work. Even though he's now retired, he still is like up and training at 6 a.m. It's his routine. It's what makes him feel good. So whenever I'm home on break and he'll go out and get a workout in at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and I'm like, you're crazy. You don't have to do it. And he's like, I don't have to, but I get to and I want to. And so my favorite line from my dad is, if it was easy, everyone would do it. That is something that has been my motto for basically my entire life, was if it was easy, everyone would do it. I definitely call him when I need some advice or when I feel stuck, asking him how to lead, what he would do in certain situations, and he's always there, always giving advice, and then adds on to, but you know what to do. You are prepared to lead, and just trust yourself and trust your gut. Being in that, it also comes with pressure applied, but I believe that both my brothers and I have done a great job of, we are our own person, and shout out to my parents, because they have made it very clear that we are our own people. We are not meant to do what he did. We are not meant to follow what he did, and if we want to, that's great, and they're going to support us, however, whatever path we choose to go, but we've also done a great job of making sure that we're our own person, and it's not because we aren't proud of him, but it's because we are so proud of him that we all want to go do our own things. Ironically enough, both my brothers went to go be quarterbacks, and I went to go be a setter, which is kind of the quarterback of the volleyball court, but it's really what we all three love to do and decided to pursue ourselves. When I started playing volleyball, I was about 7 years old. It was like the corny, like love at first sight. Like I literally fell in love with volleyball the first time I stepped on the court, and that's when I told my parents, like, this is what I want to do. I want to play volleyball. What makes me is I would consider myself a very passionate player. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities. Everything I do gets 100% of me, whether it's shagging balls or playing volleyball or doing my schoolwork or cleaning my room. Everything gets 100% of what I have at that moment. I believe that's also a quality I picked up from my dad, is there's no point in just doing something halfway. Like, if you're going to do it all the way. I would consider myself very energetic. I am kind of an energizer bunny on the team. I'm very vocal. I'm very raw, and that's part of my play. I get excited. I love to celebrate my teammates. Yeah, I just like to have fun. That's the most fun about it, is volleyball is meant to be fun, and just keeping it fun.
QB1 for the Cincinnati Bearcats, back for year 2, another year as the University of Cincinnati's play caller. Brendan Sorsby joins Bearcats All Access coming up. There's a lot of individual players to be excited about for the Cincinnati football team. One of them, quarterback Brendan Sorsby. Sorsby back for his second season with the Bearcats. Last year, he showed some sparks of greatness, although the Bearcats fell short of their season goals last year. Sorsby getting national attention as a very stellar quarterback. Sports anchor Caleb Noe sat down with Sorsby for the big picture of this season and what's next for QB1 for the Bearcats.
Brendan, what excites you the most about this 2025 season?
I would just say, the talent level that we have at each position group on both sides of the ball as well, and we have a ton of depth. So really just excited to actually, get into season and see what all these guys are about, get to go live against other teams and, showcase what we can do. But, I'm really excited to see what this group is capable of.
How are you a different quarterback now than you were 365 days ago?
Just maturing in the game, maturing, mentally more than anything, knowing that it's not always going to be a home run ball. It's not always going to be, every drive's not going to result in a touchdown, even though you would like for it to. So just knowing, situationally what you need to do, and just go throughout the game, drive by drive, and, forget about the last drive, whether it was good or whether it was bad. And, don't be afraid to take a check down every now and then. Don't be afraid to let your guys, that we brought here to make plays for us. Don't be afraid to get the ball in their hands and, let them go to work for you.
You have a receiving core with a ton of talent, but you're talking about a group of guys that is brand new. What has that been like bringing them along?
Well, you got to obviously, make sure they're good on the playbook, but you also got to build a relationship off the field with them. They've done a great job of getting in the playbook and, asking the right questions. And then, off the field, I think we've all, had a great time together, and we're messing around with each other constantly, building the relationship daily, focusing on remembering that it's just a game. We're all here for a reason. We're all talented. So, how can we incorporate off the field and our chemistry off the field onto, routes on air or team periods, whatever it may be. And I think it's shown. I think we've had a great fall camp so far, and I'm excited to get the ball to those guys and let them make me look good.
What does a successful 2025 season for the Bearcats look like for you?
I would just say, this group is a very disciplined group, and I would like for us to show that week by week this year, and really just take the season week by week. This team is very talented, and obviously last year in the Big 12, you saw that, anybody can beat anybody on any given week. So I think this week or this year, go week by week with it and, see where we end up at the end of the year.
Being named a captain this season, what does that mean to you?
It means everything. I was immediately texting all my family and friends. Obviously it was slightly expected from a second year starting quarterback, but being a kid that didn't get offered until late, you're trying to go into Indiana and earn the respect of your teammates, and then you're trying to transfer here and win the starting job. And then this was my first year to have like a second year going into the system. So being able to earn those guys' respect and, put it on display every day, knowing that those guys can trust me, and, I'm willing to do anything for this team. So I'm very honored.
Do you feel more connected and ingrained in the Cincinnati community now after having been here for about a year and a half now?
Yeah, for sure. And just, I don't want to call myself the face of the program, but at least like being one of the faces of the program has been awesome. It's what you dream of as a kid. Obviously, people knowing you and who you are, and being able to walk around as the quarterback of Cincinnati is a really cool deal.
I appreciate your time. Good luck this season.
Thank you very much.
This week on Bearcats All Access, we sit down with Erica Demers, the University of Cincinnati Bearcats women's soccer head coach. Chase Younts talks with Demers about the new additions to the roster, how they're going to fit into the team's style of play, and what challenges and opportunities the Bearcats have in this upcoming season. We hear from Coach Demers on this season preview on Bearcats All Access.
We're back here with Coach Erica Demers. We're back for another season. What were your thoughts on 2024?
Yeah, it went by fast, that's for sure. It always does. But, I think it was another growing year for us being, the second year into the Big 12. And, we talked a lot about just having some sort of progress, and whether that was looking at results or whether that was the growth of our team. But I think for us right now, we know what the Big 12 is about. And now we have to use that experience moving forward into this 2025 season.
Were there a couple of moments that stuck out to you from last year?
Yeah, I think the resurgence of, Riley. I think she's someone for sure that we got to see in non-conference really light up. And then I think we also saw the impact that she has on our program when she's not playing. We missed her for 4 conference games. I think if we have her in those 4 conference games, I think our ending is a little bit different. She's just such an impactful player, in the final third. So she was a big one. Ellie had heard as well. I think you get a fifth year to a freshman, and the relationship that 2 of them built has been really nice to see and blossom. And then we've got some new additions that we're looking forward to too. We've got 2 twin sisters in Canada coming from us from Canada. One's an attacking player, one's a defensive player, but as athletic as can be. One of the 2 fastest players that I've coached in my time. But I think we're going to have the most depth we've had since I've been at Cincinnati.
What does Ellie Flower bring to this team consistently?
Yeah, growth mindset, hardworking. When we talk a lot to recruits about what Cincinnati is, right, as a whole, that gritty blue collar, that's her. We joke around with her that she thinks that Cincinnati is the best city in the world, right? And, that's just her mentality. She loves the Cincinnati CPAW. She loves everything that's about Cincinnati. So I think she's been able to shed that light, with Riley of this is what it means to be a Bearcat here.
And you guys with non-conference, what are you looking for the most to get out of from non-conference schedule?
Yeah, to see where we're deficient. I think we have a really good non-conference schedule. 3 that fly off the paper right away is Xavier, getting them at home for my first time since I've been the head coach here. Notre Dame and Pitt, we're going to play 2 ACC schools that are definitely going to test us. The way I always look about non-conference games is I need to see where we're deficient so that we are 100% ready as best we can be for when we do kick off our first Big 12 game.
We can't end this interview without talking about Clifton confidence. Talk about where that started from and how that's gotten to the point where it's at now.
Yeah, it's been remarkable. It started fall 2023. Again, we talk about making sure at the core of who we are that we stay that Clifton style, which is that grit, that blue collar, no one's going to outwork us. And then adding that confidence piece in. Like we said earlier, we want our players to feel confident in going into every single match, no matter who the opponent is. And our thought process with it is you put those 2 things together. We don't care who you are. We don't care if you're number 1 in the nation. We don't care if you're 300 in the nation. We're going to come out and fight every single game. So it has really evolved. Our players have loved it. It's continued to be, in my opinion, not just something we say, it's something we mean now. And I know that we're going to put that to the test this coming fall.
On this week's edition of the Let's Rain podcast, Dan Horde sits down with Gary Gornowich. Gary is the general manager of Sodexo Live. He's in charge of all the food and beverage going to be in Nippert Stadium this year. From the new Rhine Room to the Jim Steak Sandwich. I've had one of those sandwiches. You got to try it. There's a lot of tasty reasons to join us this year at Nippert Stadium on Saturdays.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Dan Horde. Welcome to the Let's Rain podcast presented by the refreshingly crisp Cincy Light and Cincy Light Lime. We're going to be talking about the game day experience at Nippert Stadium. 7 home games on the schedule this year. I'll be joined by Athletic Director John Cunningham and Gary Gornavich, who is the General Manager of Sodexo Live. All right, let's get into the game day experience at Nippert Stadium. You're always trying to evolve and improve.
Well, it's pretty interesting. I think that since we have such a beautiful stadium, an iconic stadium, it gives us the opportunity to give some really great and unique experiences that you can't get anywhere in Cincinnati. And I love the fact that our fans mostly are our graduates, right? And so you can live your graduation, you can live your college experience here at a football game. For the modern TUC building that you see, they used to have the Rhine Room, where in the 1960s they created this nostalgic food hall for the students. And there used to be something called a Mr. Jim Steakhouse attached or right near the Rhine Room. And so I started putting all these ideas together and thought, wouldn't it be great if someone who graduated from the University of Cincinnati, who's been coming to a game, could relive that experience that they had while they went to college here. And so we took what we have now called the Catskeller, and we're converting that into the Rhine Room for our home football games. My thought is that a grandfather, grandmother can come to a game, bring their grandkids or a parent and bring their children and say they're here at a game. Hey, you know, I met your mom there, right? And this is where our life started. This is where your life started. You just can't buy that in professional sports, but you can buy that in a college. So we created this sandwich as a homage to the Mr. Jim. It's going to be a great cold sandwich. It's going to have roast beef on it, a roasted pepper aioli, a little arugula, and it's fantastic. It tastes great.
That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us for a very special Bearcats All Access, the first episode of the year from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, where the Cincinnati Bearcats took on the Nebraska Cornhuskers in their first football game of the season. Make sure to tune in every week to Bearcats All Access. I'm your host, Marshall Kramsky. This airs 11:30 a.m. on WCPO 9 News every Saturday morning. Go UC.